Picture this: a sleepy South Carolina neighborhood where the chirping of crickets at night is the loudest sound you hear. A place where people take evening strolls, exchange friendly waves, and trust that their neighbors are just like them. Ordinary, peaceful, safe. Now imagine waking up to the news that your new neighbor isn't ordinary at all. That the woman moving in next door, Cathy Wood, has a past so dark, so horrifying, it could haunt your dreams. Cathy Wood isn't just any ex-convict. She's a convicted murderer. One half of the lethal lovers duo who terrorized a nursing home in Michigan, leaving a trail of death and despair in their wake. For months, Cathy and her partner, Gwendolyn Graham, played a deadly game, murdering helpless elderly patients for their twisted pleasure. Their victims weren't just numbers, they were people, human lives snuffed out by women who were supposed to care for them. And now, after serving 30 years in prison, Cathy is free. Free to live among unsuspecting neighbors, free to shop at the same stores, and free to try to rebuild her life. But can someone who took part in such cold-blooded killings ever truly change? Can a heart so dark ever be redeemed? Today, we're diving into one of the most chilling cases in true crime history. This is the story of love, manipulation, and murder. The story of Cathy Wood and Gwendolyn Graham, the lethal lovers of Alpine Manor. In 1985, Alpine Manor wasn't just a nursing home. It was a final refuge for the elderly. Nestled in Grand Rapids, Michigan, it served as a place where families entrusted their loved ones to the care of compassionate professionals. Or so they thought. It was here that Cathy Wood began her job as a nurse's aide. Described by co-workers as friendly and outgoing, Cathy was a single mother in her mid-20s, navigating life after a difficult marriage. She claimed to have endured an abusive childhood and found solace in escaping into books and solitude. At Alpine Manor, Cathy met Gwendolyn Graham, a fellow nurse's aide who was 5 years younger. Gwendolyn was bubbly and outgoing, with a dark sense of humor that intrigued Cathy. The two quickly became inseparable. Their connection, however, went beyond a simple workplace romance. Cathy and Gwendolyn's relationship was intense, obsessive even. They made a pact to love each other forever and 5 days, a phrase that would later haunt investigators. It was a relationship fueled not just by passion, but by a shared darkness that would soon manifest in unthinkable acts. The victims were some of the most vulnerable members of society, elderly residents suffering from dementia. They trusted Cathy and Gwendolyn to provide care and compassion. Instead, they became pawns in the duo's twisted games. According to Cathy, the murders began in January 1987. Gwendolyn would smother their victims with washcloths, ensuring there were no marks. Cathy's role? She claimed she was merely the lookout, the one distracting other staff members while Gwendolyn carried out the killings. But why? Why would two women who seemed ordinary commit such heinous crimes? For fun. That's what Cathy would later tell investigators. The murders were a way to strengthen their love bond. Victims were chosen based on their name initials, and the pair even discussed spelling out the word murder with their victims. When that plan failed, they simply killed for the thrill. The truth began to unravel in the most unexpected way, through a phone call. In 1988, Cathy called her ex-husband, Ken Wood, and made a shocking confession. She admitted to being involved in the deaths of elderly patients at Alpine Manor. She told Ken that Gwendolyn had been the one to physically commit the murders, while she stood by, helpless. But was Cathy really a helpless bystander? Ken struggled with the information, torn between loyalty to his ex-wife and the growing realization of what these confessions meant. 14 months later, Ken decided he could no longer stay silent. He reported Cathy's confession to the police, igniting an investigation that would shock the nation. Detectives examined the records of 40 patients who had died during Cathy and Gwendolyn's time at Alpine Manor. Of those, 8 deaths were flagged as suspicious. 2 bodies were exhumed, revealing evidence of suffocation. Cathy, faced with the possibility of a life sentence, agreed to testify against Gwendolyn in exchange for a plea deal. She painted herself as a reluctant participant, manipulated by Gwendolyn's influence. But retired Detective Roger Kaliniak saw things differently. He believed Cathy was the true mastermind, orchestrating the murders while letting Gwendolyn do the dirty work. In court, Cathy's testimony sealed Gwendolyn's fate. Gwendolyn was convicted of 5 counts of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison without parole. Cathy, on the other hand, received a reduced sentence of 20 to 40 years. Yet questions lingered. How many victims were there really? Were the 5 murders Cathy confessed to just the tip of the iceberg? And most chilling of all, was Cathy truly a bystander, or was she the puppet master? Now it's your turn, Fear Lab family. What do you think? Was Cathy Wood an unwilling accomplice, manipulated by Gwendolyn's influence, or was she the mastermind, hiding behind a carefully crafted story? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And here's another question. Can someone like Cathy Wood truly be rehabilitated? Should society give her a chance at redemption? Or does her past prove she's beyond saving? What would you do if you discovered Cathy Wood was your neighbor? Would you confront her, warn others, or try to move away quietly? Let's discuss in the comments. Your opinions make this community what it is, a space where we explore the darkest corners of humanity together. The story of Cathy Wood and Gwendolyn Graham is a haunting reminder of the evil that can lurk behind seemingly ordinary faces. It's a story of love twisted into obsession, care turned into cruelty, and trust shattered by betrayal. As Cathy reintegrates into society, one question remains. Will she stay in the shadows, or will her dark past resurface? If you found this story as haunting as we did, make sure to subscribe to the Fear Lab for more in-depth explorations of humanity's darkest tales. Don't forget to like this video, share it with fellow true crime enthusiasts, and ring the notification bell to join us on our next investigation. Until then, stay vigilant, stay curious, and remember, the scariest monsters are the ones who look just like us.